Hey everybody, I'm Cinnamon Cooney, your art sherpa, and today I'm really excited to be bringing to you this fantastic yellow windmill in the tulips painting. This is a very beginner painting, and we're going to show you everything you need to do to be able to create this for yourself at home. On the mic today is my husband John.
Hi guys.
And he's going to be tracking me with our camera so that you can see what I'm doing so you can do it too. And you can be hanging this great painting on your wall. I'm ready to just jump on in and tell you about the materials we're going to be using. But a quick reminder, if ever you need a freshen up of like what we had or where it's going, check the links below because generally we list out all the materials, including a link to our website where the free traceable is located. All right, so I've got a 9x12 canvas here, and we like to put wishes on our canvas. So I have put a wish in that Dan gets a promotion. For Tammy to have a good result on a backup test, and that this is a wish that's going out to several people, that if you have stopped painting for any reason, for something anyone has said to you, or heartbreak or any of that, that I wish that you get to come back to being art and you get to feel better really soon. And that also that all of the little brushes around the world get to hear a message of how important painting is in their lives. All right, so here is our palette, our Gray Matters palette, and I have some acrylic paint put out. I have titanium white, phthalo blue, phthalo green, cad yellow medium, quinacridone magenta, and a little bit of black. And that's all we're going to need today, plus a little bit of water, and of course, sippy sippy. John's going to say hi real quick.
Hello. Oh my, hey everybody. We got such a full crowd of people here. They're so excited about today. And so I guess we're going to be able to jump right into this, into the background here today.
Yeah, we're just going to get right into the background. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to paint an ombre sky, which means it's going to be the darkest at the top and lighten up as it goes down. Mm-hmm. And we're going to do that by slowly adding white into our mix. I'm going to show you how you can do that at home, and we're going to paint this in.
All right.
I have a number 10 bright.
I got the picture there for you.
Yeah, thank you. I have a number 10 bright, and I'm going to drag off the extra water. And I'm going to start with some of my phthalo blue loaded into my brush. And if you'll notice, like I dip in the water a little bit, not too much extra, and I flip my brush over, and I'm going to get just a smidge of white into that first mix. So that's our first color, and I'm going to just come across and do brush strokes that are horizontal and even, and I'm going to slowly increment my brush down as I'm going. I'm coming up here fixing a boo-boo. And I'm going to press my brush into the canvas, offloading my paint, smoothing this out. And then when I'm ready to get some more paint, I'm going to do an interesting thing. I'm going to dip in the water, grab a little white paint, come here, mix in. And I'm going to blend these two sections together. And again, continue down my sky. And I'm going to do again. I'm going to be doing this all the way to the bottom. So just making a nice blend. You can see what I did was I went back up where these two areas were both wet and blended them together. So I need to add a little more paint. So I'm going to get a little more white into my mix. So it's going to lighten it up one shade, dip in, make sure my brush is nice and loaded, and continue down. How is everybody doing today, John?
Good. They were just telling me telling me that they are all a Twitter with the announcement of this painting. So they were.
Oh, really?
Yes. There's very exciting news. So the room is filling up, and everyone is like telling me how excited they are to try this one out. So this is a good one for new people, I guess.
This is a very friendly one. I'm just adding some more white into my mix, lightening it up again, one more shade. And I'll go ahead and take this to the bottom just simply to make sure that I have an amount of paint over my whole canvas. When I layer the grass over, it'll help it look nicer.
This is a really pretty simple background to do.
This is an ombre, and you really got to learn how to do these in painting because a lot of your skies and a lot of your water effects will require being able to take something from a darker color to a lighter color and blend the areas between. So this is a great space to figure out how to do that, and it's one of the first things that you get to learn how to do that makes you feel really like, I can art. So, should be enjoyable. I just took that all the way to the bottom. There we go. Okay. All right.
That's pretty. You just like bang, just knocked that in there.
We did.
So that now I know that sometimes you have to dry the canvas because the layers. Now there's what happens with the paint?
So you're either trying to paint your paint over a wet layer and blend it in, and that's one way to do it. Or sometimes, like if you're going to dry brush or do something airy, you would go over a dry layer, and you wouldn't want the layer underneath to be wet. Is that what we mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's totally it. I know that like a lot of times when you go to dry the painting, I tried to explain why it's important to dry the different layers. So I figured you could explain that.
And right now, actually, you can do two things if you're doing the clouds. There's a couple things that can be messing with you. I can show you something really cool about your cloud.
Yeah.
When you do this, we're going to do this with my cloud brush, but I'm going to show you with some other brushes too. So you understand that it's really about the process being the most important thing. And so I'm going to dry this actually.
Okay.
Because we do a lot of clouds into wet, but I'm going to show you how to do it over dry.
All right.
So I'm going to dry this.
Okay. Okay, there it is. So while she's doing that, I'm going to say thank you guys for coming and hanging out with me. I look over and I see this big crew of people. Love seeing you guys. Thank you for coming and hanging out today. Probably the most sincere thing I can say is thank you for joining us here and doing this painting thing with us and being part of our art tribe. I love having you guys here with me. So thank you coming and hanging out. Don't forget to check the links in the description below because you'll find a link to our website, which will have a list of materials, the traceable for this, a link to all of the other reference materials that you might need to complete this painting. Just make it sort of easier. So we compile all that onto our website, put links up there for you to anything you might need. You can find that in the description below. And don't forget to share your painting up with us on social media because that's one of the most rewarding things is for us to be able to see that. So
yeah, it actually was really fun to go around on social media and see the artwork you guys are doing. It's pretty exciting. It's just so neat to know that you at home are painting this right now, and then you put it up, and it's like getting to meet you or be with you a little bit. It's really interesting. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Sorry, drinking in your ear. Apologize, y'all.
No, you get to drink. You know what? It's your show. You get to make rules as you go.
Only on YouTube.
So,
and who knows for how long. All right, so I've got a couple inches here, and I'm going to go across the bottom.
Yep.
And this is what I'm going to say is sort of my background horizon line. If the canvas isn't divided in half, it's almost like a hand down. I'm going to say, hey, my grass is going to come up. My grass and tulips and plants are going to come up about here. And I'm definitely going to want a windmill. And one of the things that I can do, this is kids chalk, like what you use on a chalkboard, and it will just come right off with water. And because the pigment on this is so light, you can paint it right in. It won't hurt anything. But I'm going to just real quick draw my windmill so that when I put in my clouds, I can really design how they're going to be peeking out from everything that I've got here. I've got my T-square, and I'm going to come up here. I'm going to help myself. This is just, well, I can tell you exactly how many inches it is because I have a measuring tool. It's just under 3 inches and just around 7 centimeters. I'm going to make the top of my windmill, and I'm going to come over from the side. I'm just going to make a little mark so I know where it is. And I'm going to say, all right, that looks pretty good. I got some room for some what are they? Sails. They're sails, aren't they?
I don't know. Is that what they're called on the
Propellers?
windmill?
I don't know.
Are they the big paddles that catch the wind?
Those things.
Yes.
Now, I've made a little smile. Can you guys see it's like a little square that's smiling a bit? I'm going to just take this down, and I'm going to flare the bottom just a smidge. And that's to say that it's wider at the bottom than it would be at the top, right?
Yeah.
And that lets us get the sense that this building isn't just immediately falling over. And if you get anything you don't like, you just take a little brush and you just erase. See how easy it is to erase?
They're kind of like weather vanes. So
I'm sure somebody actually
Someone's
has a
gonna have a
windmill
name
and would
for
be like,
them?
no, they are called this. This is silly, you silly people.
Yeah, and I'll probably be like, duh, that's
The internet, well, one of the nice things about being on YouTube is YouTube is always so happy to
correct you
correct you.
in the most
And I'm thinking I
humiliating
even
way
want to
possible.
move this down a little bit. Just a little bit because I don't like how my arms are bisecting.
They're called sails.
Sails,
That's what they
thank
said.
you.
So
Just a little bit. There we go. I want some room for those sails.
the Vara,
There
the
we
Bella?
go.
the Bella, I think is.
Now, and again, I have a traceable, so you guys don't have
Thank
to
you.
work this out. And you don't want to make this very extreme. It just needs to be just a little bit coming here and then a little more there. I'm going to put a little circle here. and define that. And then I'm going to put those in. And how I put those in, how I got that was I just made an X like through my center hub here, right? And I just took my little line and went like that. And then I was able to paint the sails off of that. And a little X going this way. So that's how I got that in.
That's pretty cool.
Move it over a little bit. I have a thing like with my roller, like if I don't center it right on the. So we've got that. And again, we know we can just take a little clean water and an erase, and look how easily it just comes right off like it was never there. And we can adjust these in a minute, but we just wanted to know where these objects were, the sizing and relationship of the objects, so that when we put in the other things that it was super easy. Now I'm going to show you a little trick about clouds.
Okay.
Because you guys are always like, clouds, clouds, clouds. Right? And it's like, why is your brush so hard? I'm like, and I'm going to show you why. So clouds, one of the things that people want to do is they want to go like this. Can we see that there?
That's a cloud.
Right? And that's not the cloud they're trying to make. They're trying to make a cloud that has an updraft and is impacted by all kinds of environmental factors.
All of my clouds look like that, though.
Yes. Well, I think most of our clouds all look like that. I got to try this a little bit with my chalk. So what I'm going to show you is, I used to call this the Jackie Chan. It's like when you meander up and down and all around.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to come here and we're going to go up a little bit and we're going to go back. And I'm going to go up and then back. See how I'm making these like irregular shapes?
None of them are the same.
None of them are the same. And then here at the bottom, right, whatever it is that I'm doing, I just give myself this guide, right? I'm going to come out maybe a little bit like this. Right, now I know there could be a little more cloud shape in there. See how that's not like a little cotton ball? It's crazy shapes up and down and over. Now that I have that there, this is for you guys to do if you've really, really just been stuck on clouds. I'm going to put one that's peeking out from behind this building, little bank that's wandering away. And see, I'm doing the same thing. I'm like, what could my cloud be doing? A little different than the cloud above it, because clouds do their own thing. And then again, I know I'm going to want it to tweeter off here because there's these air currents and these clouds are closer and these are further in perspective, and that's what's actually happening there. And I could peek another little cloud around here coming off the top of this if I wanted to. And then of course there is the upper bank one that might be coming around here, and he could come up and do all kinds of things. Just remember that you've got this sort of leveling out, and even if there's another bank, it's got to level out a little bit from how we're saying this is happening. And once I have those kind of decisions made and I've gotten myself away from the cotton ball, then I can use dry brushing to get this cloud in really effectively. Now, I have my tool here. This is an TheArtSherpa cloud, and I feel like sometimes it's confusing because I named it a cloud, but it's actually a scrubber and a scumbler.
Mm-hmm.
But it lets me do a particular type of really fun dry brushing. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to pull out some paint. Now, if you're going to notice how I pull away and keep making strokes.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm doing is I'm dispersing a light amount of paint, see how light it is, into my brush.
Yeah.
That way, when I come here and I sort of follow my lines, see, it's just leaving a little bit of paint. And one of the things that you guys might not see is that I might rock back. I make little circles, but I don't just make a circle, circle, circle. I rock back. I use this brush to create random, airy little bits of mark. Right? I can come back here and say, hey, no, there's a little more thickness right there. See how I'm thickening up that cloud?
Yeah.
Right? And I'm going to come right here and define this little bank. And this is where these guys actually win. So what they do is they let me do like a lot of these little wispities, which can be really challenging. You can always get a nice soft brush and do a nice fluffy cloud, but sometimes the little wispities, like these guys, are real challenging.
Mm-hmm.
But they're incredible in your sky. I'm going to make another little bank here. See, I went up swirls, and then when I need to go back.
Yeah.
So it's not just a one direction little brush stroke. I'm going to come down here. And again, it's not a crazy amount of paint on here. I'm just going to define this out in the shape of the brush. And the other thing is, I'm not like this. See, if I went like this, it's just a little swirl.
Oh, hold on a second.
I'm on the, let's see if I can show it. I don't know, can you see it from here?
Yeah.
So see, this is just a swirl. It's just digging into my canvas.
Right.
Right? And that's not what I'm trying to do with these.
Okay.
right? I'm trying to come in on this edge of the brush, see how it's planted? And use its shape and this motion that I'm doing.
So you're like push depositing.
I'm push depositing and I'm doing it on the heel. One of the great cloud brushes that a lot of artists have always liked is a deerfoot stippler, right? A couple of the issues with the deerfoot that has always been there is that it tends to run a little soft for heavy body paint. And it can be hard to find, right? So what I wanted was like sort of an infinite version of that where I could, because now I've got waves, now I've got bark, now I've got all these crazy detailed dry brushing effects that I can do. See, I'm just going back and forth. I'm leaving a lot of my canvas showing, aren't I?
So you could use a stippler in place of this.
Yeah. Yeah, you really can. Like, look, if I had to, like, say all I had was a little bright. Let me find it. Like, say this is the only bright I had. This is what I had.
Right.
This is a bristle bright. Right, so it's got the nice bristles. I'm going to rinse out my cloud real fast. And I'll show you could do it with this. So with this, I get it wet, but I'm going to bring it back to my towel. This is how you'd make your bristle brush work. But I'm going to do a very similar thing. I'm going to load up my brush, and it's fairly dry. It's not wet. And then I come here, and I'm now, instead of having that infinite round, I'm going to be working this part of the brush. Right, and I'm going to do a similar thing. It's not ineffective.
Oh, so you're still doing that push deposit method.
Yeah, this is just a little harder to get it with. And then, see these hard edges here? Those can be harder to get with this type of tool.
Oh, yeah. So
like, I like that, so that's why I have what I have.
Gotcha.
But what you're really talking about is just leaving a lot of blue showing through. Let me reload this little guy up. Having, nice defined shapes that feel random. There we go. I'm going to soften this here. That's what I'm doing is I'm softening that line. Right? So that when I come through with my scumble here, wow, I've got some real options, don't I? I just wanted to delve down in this a little bit. I could have really whipped through this lesson, but I know the clouds have been just really frustrating everybody, and I wanted to talk about that just a little bit more. By the way, you can also do this exact thing with your finger. So again, and push that out and I can make it look like there's a little bit of drifting away. This is what I love about this, is that little bit of drifting away. That's why I love this jam. And I've been told apparently it's really good for ceramics, for glazing, because you can do detail glazing. I did not know that. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, we've had a lot of interesting...
So how's everybody doing? Do we have any follow-up cloud questions?
Awesome. No, this was great. They were asking here a lot of the questions we've answered, like could you exchange a stippler or a softer, different brushes of bright. So you answered a lot of that, and a lot of people were commenting on their different thoughts. Like they've got stipplers, they've tried using those, they like those. They were actually there were a couple people were saying they've enjoyed using your brushes and where to get them on our website. So thank you guys for that. and chat. So they're always chatting. And by the way, guys, we really invite you, if you've not had a chance to join us in live, to come. It's really awesome. I think I saw Sue was a new first timer here.
Oh, really? Hi, Sue.
We had a bunch of other people who were first timers. Maybe Cindy was. So thanks. Hi, everybody. We love having you guys with us. So I'm just doing shout outs between our.
I love shout outs. Shout outs are good, right? Well, yeah.
I'm just like, hi.
So I'm going to help us get our little windmill on.
What is our next little piece here?
All right, so my next little piece, I think I'm just looking for, I'm going to get my number 4 cat's tongue. I'm going to mix in some colors and get it so I can get a nice bright windmill going and bright colors on my windmill. And this is sort of interesting because maybe I'll actually get a bigger brush. I might get my nice number 8 cat tongue. Any brush, you could use a number 8 bright. You just want something big enough for this. I'm going to do a crazy thing. This is going to be especially helpful if you're painting with like Artist Loft or Liquitex Basics.
Okay.
I'm going to paint in very lightly. It doesn't have to be perfect. Look how lightly.
Oh, yeah. I remember because you're going to put yellow over that.
Because this is a yellow lighthouse. And because it's yellow, I have to paint my background out a little bit and lighten it up. Or the yellow just isn't going to be vibrant. It's going to come across as a little bit green. And I want you to pay attention. I'm not putting on a lot of paint. I'm just creating a little bit of a base where the blue is knocked back by the white so that it's not going to come through, because yellow is our most transparent color, which is why a lot of times you don't see yellow focal objects in art. Actually, it's like kind of one of those harder things to do. So that's where that comes from. And this little step, especially if you're painting a very, very transparent yellow, will save you hours and hours of agony. And we don't want you in agony. It's probably not why you started painting.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's helpful. So you can see I'm just very loosely painting in my chalk outline with white so that I can put that in just a little sucky suck. Now I'm going to rinse this out, and I get to do something kind of fun here. I get to put in some deep, far away background and kind of bring some green down here to deepen this. And how I'm going to do that, this is far, far away. So I'm going to take a little bit of this green. See, it's just on the tip of my brush. I'm going to come over to my yellow, and I'm going to make a very, very light green, and I'm going to add a smidge of white to it. See that?
Yeah.
There you go.
Craig just wanted me to pass along. You really wanted to say thank you for taking the time yesterday to do the extra Facebook demo. That was really helpful in showing some of the brushwork. So
we're going to try to do those more and more and more, because I think that they do help, like going over that stuff and getting to answer those questions pre-show are like really, really helpful. I like doing that, so I expect to do more.
yeah, you can always find the link to those in the descriptions.
Yeah. Yes, always, always. All right, so I've got my number 8's cat tongue. You could do a round, you could do a bright.
Yep.
And I'm going to just come here and I'm going to tap and dabble up just some distant little, there's a little far away green fellows. And they're just tapped. I'm going to come around and let's, here, and this isn't, you can see this is not perfect or precious. This is just these little random tap, tap, taps. I'm going to come down, 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 and a little tap, tap, tap up. See how I'm trying to make it like not cloned, not just the same in every space. All right. And then what I can do, I'm going to get a little water on my brush, and I can take a little of this, and I can start to come down the painting a little bit with some green here, and just tap that in. Not going to make like hard lines, right? Because this is just, that's the layer. It's going to give us some depth right there. There we go. Not bad, not bad. Now we're going to do an interesting thing. I'm going to get a little of my black and my blue. See that right there?
Yeah.
And some of my green. Isn't that an interesting color? And I'm going to make everything down here that deep color. This layer will help our grass feel fuller, and that way we can be more expressive and more free with our brush strokes, which is super nice and helpful. So that little weird, messy bit of work,
That's pretty awesome.
does some awesome stuff for us. And sometimes we have messy work we've got to do. My stuff is dry, so I'm going to clean up my weird chalk line so that this is, see?
Yeah.
Chalk lines are awesome because they go away when we ask them to. And you want them to go away when you ask them to. All right, so that's looking pretty good. I've got to paint in my basic yellow windmill. I need to definitely sippy some coffee here. So I'm so glad you guys came today and came to do this. I'm really excited about this painting. You guys are going to love how we throw these tulips in. It is going to make you so happy. You're going to be tuliping all of the things.
Yes, they're very excited about the tulips. That's the next part that everyone is there's lots of flower interest in the room. So,
well, I have been getting a lot of requests to come up with some flower work for you guys that's a little bit easier. This is a number 6 bright. You could use a number 8 again. But I'm going to get some just yellow, just plain yellow, and I'm going to start painting in my windmill from below my little orange area. Now, if you want to, you can do your window in now. I'm going to do it just layered over everything, but it would be okay. But first, I want to get this first bit of yellow on. And right away, hopefully you can see how much that the yellow, like where I didn't have it underneath, you can see how green it goes.
yeah.
it really makes a difference in the brightness that your painting is going to convey. And I just want to coat this with a nice layer of yellow. Some paint just go flying. Remember that one time I lost that one glob of paint? We never
my gosh,
found
we still like the
Missing.
phantom paint. I wonder if anybody can remember what color that was. The disappearing paint we had from.
Gosh, when was that?
I don't know.
Time Lords.
Yep. I would say bonus points if you know what season it was from, but I don't know what seasons we've had.
Yeah, we never actually declare seasons. We're both like, it's this year. That's exciting. We're so excited to be here this year. All right, so we get this basic color of yellow on, and it should look a little choppy. It should look a little bit, like painterly. And one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little of my white and my yellow together. Just a little bit.
Oh, I think Amanda may have guessed first. I think she said Indian yellow, and then there were some other people who came behind and said it was yellow, and then maybe yellow ochre.
Oh, boy.
Angela behind it said yellow ochre. So
they're getting it.
They're getting
All
close.
Right.
Maybe
so
yellow.
You guys see that I'm loading a little white and yellow on my brush?
Yep.
So I'm loading a little white and yellow. I'm going to just take a little bit of this and make sort of like this little... See, I'm going pull strokes. They're like random, and I'm changing the direction of my brush so that they're very rough and random. I don't want them to be like all like even or like a little ladder. They need to be all messy.
Yeah.
If you've been a messy person most of your life, this is like your jam. Now I'm going to take a little of my black paint and I'm going to get it on my brush. See how I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to get some of my yellow. And here I am making this sort of grayed out yellow. And I'm going to come from the side of my windmill and I'm going to stroke over. See how we're doing?
Oh, yeah.
So it's a very light color. It's still yellow. It's just like this bright yellow is in a bit of a shadow. And it's not about, having it totally perfectly down because chances are you won't. And you don't need to. Make a nice clean line. And just pull that over so that we're shading the cylinder. Because really, what are we painting? We're painting a cylinder and we're just shading it. You can take this down into where the grass would be too. And that can help you make that feel like more integrated into the space. Now, one color that we can get up there is our orange. And I wanted this to be a limited palette so you guys didn't feel like you had to buy a lot of paint. So I'm going to show you how to make a nice orange. But it might take a couple coats for these two colors because they're both transparent to come together and make an awesome orange. So I'm going to pull out a little of my yellow and a smidge of my quinacridone. And you can see that together these guys make a pretty bright orange. If you want it to be, like more intense, you take it a little more towards the red. And if you want it to be more subdued, you take it more to the yellow.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just making sure that this is painted in nice. Just a little stripe here.
So
doing its little thing. There we go.
So Shannon was asking, she was saying that your paintings look so bright. The sky looks so bright, like you're outside looking at the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a trick to make to that? To having that vibrance to the to it?
Well, if you're starting like your background and your first color and your first water, like your clean water, is your blue, and it's not vibrant, my first thing I would say is check the paint. Because even between brands like Phthalo, like even though it's PB, what is Phthalo Blue? Phthalo Blue is PB 16? I'm looking for my
I was going to say 14. But
no, it's 16. There it is. And then Golden has a weird one because they have blue and red shades. So it's 15.3, which is like Phthalo Blue green shade. All student paint, though, is Phthalo Blue green shade, but some of them are more vibrant. Some of the pigments are better. That is actually the hardest color for a paint company to make, interestingly enough, which I was really surprised by. Because there's a lot going on into Phthalo Blue.
The vibrancy of your painting has a lot to do with the quality of your paint.
If you're just at the beginning of it, I'm going to make some more, like go a little bit right into this. If you're just at the beginning of your painting and it's still not bright, I would blame the paint company. Now I'm going to just see that second coat. And that's just because quinacridone and yellow can be transparent.
And no, some of the things you can do is paint white underneath areas to help that vibrancy, but
right.
in the skies, that's...
It was already white. So if
Yeah.
if you were doing exactly what I did there and it wasn't vibrant, that would definitely be the paint. But like if you're into a painting and your color's not vibrant, then I would check your water and your brush for having pigment in it, because that's probably what would be happening to you. Is probably what will be going on. All right. So we're going to let this dry for a minute, and while we're taking advantage of that, we're going to have a little bit of fun, and we're going to take a little of, maybe I want a smaller brush, I think, for this fun bit. Something small, something round. You could do a small bright. I think I'll do my small cat's tongue, or my small round, if I can find either one of them. Oh, there it is. So right here, so I've got my small little cat's tongue.
And
I'm going to put some distant flowers while all this stuff is having a minute. So I'm going to grab a little of my red, my quinacridone, and I'm going to get a little white onto it. That makes a nice pink. I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to make sure.
Ooh, your little dashes.
I'm making weird little dashes. See, I'm getting some right there.
Now, what are those you're putting in there? Those are...
More. I'm going to make these not quite as bright because we want them to feel far away. These are far away tulips.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Because your perspective is really low. You're like almost like laying on your belly in the tulips for this painting.
I see them, yeah.
So I'm just dash right here. Just a couple, and then I'm going to rinse that out. And I'm going to do a little yellow and white dashing. Yellow and white tulip dashing. Because I had to let everything dry anyways, right?
Yeah.
So there we go. We're going to just say, here's some here. And a few of them like kind of tapped in here. There we go. So just some far away ones. Anything you want to do with your green right now, it's a good time to do it because we've got to harden up the windmill. So if you want like another kind of like bright green and you want to, maybe make some little marks like this. See how I'm going flick, 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 flick?
Yep.
So it's a simple painting, but that's just a nice touch that you can do. Some little marks that make it a little bit distant. There we go. See? Coming across here. Starting to think about that. Now, I'm thinking everything's starting to get dry, but I'm going to hit it with the hairdryer just real quick. John's going to say hi to you for a second. I just want to make sure that when I put my black over to make my window and then get my windmill in, that there's no underbinding, which is where my paint isn't yet sticking to itself or the canvas. And drying it can really help that along.
All right. So yeah, as she was saying, when she dries it up, that makes the paint nice and dry, so the next layer will stick on there really good without any problem. So you can find out about all of the materials and the reference images and your traceables and all of that, again, are in the links in the description below. You'll find a link right there to our website that'll take you all out there, and we curate all those resources there for you, along with a bunch of other really cool stuff that you can find out on our website. So check that out. Please post up your picture for us on social media so we can see how you've painted. I love checking those out. And there's Sunun. She's back. She's done drying.
I'm back. I'm back from stuff drying. So I'll just show you with chalk real quick.
Okay.
I'm going to have a little window here. Right?
So you can see
people
out
got
the
to be able to look. Well, actually, this wouldn't be a little window considering.
It'd be a big windmill on that. It'd be a big
window.
window.
A very big window that this person would go out and look at their neighbors from. But
probably no neighbors, just looking at the flowers.
Just looking at the flowers. I'm going to take a little blue and a little black while I'm at it. And we'll come right here.
They were curious. There's a duck with green boots on your palette. Do you see that?
Where's the duck?
The duck with green boots. He has green feet.
That's so funny.
There's a duck with green boots.
That's so funny. How's that happen? That's so funny. So this is just my black and my blue. And I'm just making sure that I've got a nice little kind of reflective window that you can have right here. And here's a little trick. When you have more blue on your brush than black, if you get a little bit of the white, Then you can come across your window and go streak, streak. That way when I put the little bars over it, it'll look like the sky is reflected in my window. Kind of a cool thing that you can have going on if you need it going on. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my smallest bright that I can. I'm going to get a number 2. See, this is number 2. And I'm going to make my orange again, which is my yellow and my quinacridone, right, for my bright, bright orange. If I had any green in this paint, it would be very grayed out and I wouldn't get a bright result, right? And I'm going to just go around my window while I'm at it with that bright color in this particular brush. Because this brush helps me make the frame, right?
Mm-hmm.
I make the frame the width of this brush. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to have this nice orange frame in. And you just clean that up. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I think I need to have this dry real quick so I can do the bars over it, and then I'm going to put in the black shadows on the windmill, then I can throw in the actual cells.
Okay. So yeah, she's going to dry that up, and then we get more flowers, which I'm super excited about. I see you guys out here in chat are excited about that stuff too. So, and it's really nice to see you guys out here. I'll say hi next time we're...
No, you can keep saying hi.
Oh,
I'm just putting in the little bars. I'm just getting my orange again, and we're going to put in little, like the little T that's on the window, right?
Uh-huh.
Just a little T.
It's just fun in chat, having everybody out here. So I love saying thank you, and if you have a chance, it's good to try to join us out there in the live.
In the live.
In the live.
Isn't that nice? And they got a little square.
You got the little bars on the windows.
Yeah. Now I'm going to take a little of my black and some yellow, but I'm going to make quite a dark color. Right? I want it to be a little bit darker. And then I'm going to come here, right underneath this structure right here, and pull down a little bit of a shadow. I'm going to come down the side of my windmill. And look, it's just sort of like a loose dry brush. See where I'm making the shadow? So you don't want something too big. And if it gets too intense on, you can always come back. Look, you can always come back with some yellow and blend it out. So just don't panic. Sometimes black really panics everybody. And what I would say is don't be panicked. I'm going to get a little more black on my brush. Like you do, and black, black, black. Make sure I have a shadow right here. And coming off my window. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
And my window has a nice shape. And I'm going to just run a nice dark line up the side. And also under this part here. And you can, if you want to make sure this is nice and dark down here, so it feels like any of the grass that's been coming up is sort of in that. See, isn't that cool? Don't go up big and far, right? You want your shadow to be like, and if it gets away from you, look what you can do. That's a wet brush and a little bit of a scrubby motion back and forth while the paint underneath is dry. So see, you can fix things in your acrylic.
I'm with Sophia. I can't wait for the flowers.
The flowers are honestly the best part, but we got to get a sailing.
Sherpa. We need more flowers.
We do. We need so many more flowers. While we're waiting for this stuff to dry, though, we can put in our grass that lets us have our flowers.
Okay, that's okay.
So we're moving forward. I'm going to get back into my cat's tongue number 8.
Okay, so it's cat's tongue?
Number 8, and you could do a round 8. You could do an angle brush like this. Like if that's what you're, used to doing your grass with, you could do your angle brush, you could do your 8. So there's a lot you can get this in. You're just going to want to be able to do a grass-like brush stroke. So I'm going to pull out some green and a little yellow, and I'm going to loosely mix. See how it's loosely mixed?
Loosely mixing.
It's not totally like mixed up on my brush, and I'm going to come here, and I'm going to flick up this brush stroke. I like to change directions from where it is. And I'm really just trying to make it sort of open and loose. Because the green and yellow, again, can be transparent, can it?
Yeah.
So it's like flick, up, flick, flick, flick. I'm just making these loose here. You know, if you feel like you're losing some of your deep colors, you can always go back with your blue and your green and even a smidge of black and make sure that some of this is very dark. Look at that at the base.
Oh, yeah.
To define that. And we haven't lost our dark. We don't want to lose our dark. You're just saying, hey, there's some shadow here. You don't want to go crazy. Flick, flick, flick. We're going to let that have a little dry for a minute so we can come back with some very bright, bright color in our tulips. While that's having its little moment, let's let it have a moment. I'm gonna get my chalk lines back on because I lost them, like you do. Sometimes you lose your chalk lines,
And
then you put them back.
what happens when
'Cause
your
they're
chalk
chalk.
lines find you?
I don't know. Let me know. If that happens to you, let me know. Warn us all.
Maybe they're just like, hey, we're over here.
All right. The sails are just a long rectangle that's about a number 8 brights wide. That's what I do. I just use the brush sometimes for width. And you want to make sure that they're on this side of the sail.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't put the sail on this side. They're all sort of facing the same part of the pole, if that makes sense. And they're all about the same width. So I'm just making sure I got those little rectangles, and you guys are kind of seeing that. So there we go. And let's put another one here. This is fun. Another little square. It can even come off the canvas, right?
Mm.
Because our world exists off the confines of the canvas. It's real. It's real. I'm going to take my little brush and put in my little center bars. So we had this little guy here. Sort of a little round shape, isn't he? This is my number 2 bright I'm using right now. Could have used a round.
Could have used a round.
I could have.
You could use your finger.
I could use my finger. Yeah, don't be stressed. I'm just making it big enough to hold everything.
Brushes are cleaner than fingers.
Brushes are much cleaner than fingers in some sense, sure.
Yep.
I'm going to take this on up.
I guess that's probably why they started using them.
And then we're going to make sure that we've got this one in. And you can see how, like, chalking it in really helps me. Because sometimes I don't feel like I feel like I could have a steadier hand. But that's just, we all have our art struggles. Here. Yeah. That's one of mine. Okay. Okay.
Just putting these are the sail spines. I
guess.
That's
what they're tied to.
Yeah.
They're tied here.
Now I guess they maybe masts, like, because they're a sail, so maybe those are masts.
And the masts.
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna go out on a limb.
Oh my goodness! All right, so here's a number 8 bright. Look, width of a number 8 bright. So I'm gonna take a little of my white out, and I'm gonna get a smidge of my black on it, just a smidge, right? Because these are kind of white sails, but they wouldn't be bright white. I'm gonna take my brush and just make one stroke up, and then one stroke back. See how the squareness in my brush lets me do this?
Yeah, it really helps you.
Just get this sucker on, man. Even better than my chalk line. But the chalk line lets me know about where I want to do my strokes. So even if my chalk lines are all off, as long as I realize I've got to have a little space between the sail and the spine, or what it's attached to, rigging, I'm sure there's a name. We couldn't be lucky enough to, like, have 2 of them cracked just accidentally. It's not that I never had access to a windmill either, so. I eat at the pepper mill.
I don't.
I should know these things.
Other than on a like miniature golf course, I don't think I've ever seen a real windmill. Windmill.
Right?
I think that's like something I would like to see someday.
I would so like to see that. And the pony park.
And the pony park.
I'm so into the pony park. I don't care that I can't ride the ponies. So I had said that once to somebody who's like, I don't think you can ride those ponies. You're too big. And I'm like, well, I know that. I was going to feed them apples, not torture them. I'm rough to troll because sometimes I'm like, yeah, I know.
I don't. We just want to go visit the ponies.
You just want to feed the ponies apples.
And I want to like see windmills,
and see windmills and
wild flowers.
And wildflowers. Back to my big. Now I'm letting this have a dry, and while I'm letting it have a dry, I might as well put my grass highlights in just real quick.
Okay.
So those are going to be a very bright green. So I don't want to get the black that's over here. I'm going to pull out just the blue and a bunch more yellow, and I'm going to make sure it's like loosely mixed because it has to be a noticeably brighter color, right, to get this layer. And I'm going to come here and let me show you. So I plant my brush, and then when I release the brush stroke, I release the pressure. So the pressure is at the beginning of the stroke, and then as it comes up, I lift it off. See? And I can't make like little ridges where I go across, right? Like I don't want to do this. That is not going to help me. I want to do that.
Oh, right? Yeah.
So I've got to be paying attention to those things as I'm doing it. Here we go. Going. Just loosely mixed. You can even sometimes hit with a little white to even brighten it. And that's the trick, is just I want to just make sure that I've got, it can't be too light because we want some depth and dimension. And we don't want all the stuff going the same direction because that's not what plants do. They're not polite. They're unruly. I'm putting some more green on here. So see how we're just varying the tonality? And now what we have is a depth. We have all kinds of things where this now looks like everything's planted. One of the things you want to make sure that the grass is well over the windmill. So that's an area to check. You know, get some more yellow on there, a little white, make that lighter color. See? Look how full that looks now. Doesn't that look like full grass? And that you're low amazing. And the blades are close to you. Now I'm going to dry this.
Okay.
So I can do the black here and put the first part of the tulips. This is the trick. This will work for you even if you're on student paint.
Okay. So definitely, and I know, you guys, I've noticed a lot of you guys are sharing the sentiment. Going and seeing windmills would be really awesome. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of your guys' paintings of the windmills and the tulips and all this beautiful stuff. So thank you again for talking here in the chat about all this. I know that it's really wonderful to be able to share this time with you guys in the live, and I kind of get lost in the chat there a little bit, so I apologize. Do join us if you have a chance. If you've not had a chance to do the lives, come and join us in there. We chat in here about all sorts of things, not necessarily on topic, sometimes bordering on topic, but it's always a lot of fun. And I would love to see more of you guys there with us. So thank you for that. And spending time with me while Cinnamon's over there drawing things and I babble on endlessly. And
no, you're doing great, babe. Are you guys doing okay?
They're doing fantastic.
How is your windmill coming out?
They're like, everyone's really excited about windmills. I was just saying, everyone's excited about all the Holland imagery here out of this. It's very, I don't know, kind of spring funish. And
I just feel like, I know it's cold, but it's spring soon, right? Like, we're just going to paint it.
No,
we're going now.
And I don't want to say that all of the names that have been coming out are from that Northern European, but some of them have been, and it's been made extraordinarily challenging for me to just guess at pronunciations.
Many consonants together.
Yes, and
many consonants together.
There's lots of love, although I'm a coward, so.
Well, that'll work. All right. To do the tulips, I want a square brush for this. If I did a round brush, it would point each petal, and I wanted this sort of blocky shape to these. So actually what I'm going to do, and maybe I can hold this up so it's like easier for me.
Okay. At
the bottom. So like, let's put our central tulip right here. So I'm going to put this little shape in. I'm going to bring this brush stroke back like this. And then it's going to have a little friend, a little shorter. I'm doing this in white because I'm going to come back over this later with my very transparent but bright pigments. You see that little stroke there?
Oh, yeah.
So this is what I'm doing. I'm creating this like very loose shape. Now where the tulip is smaller, like to his little friend down here, I'm going to be on the corner of my brush right here, but a similar kind of brush stroke. Let's try again, see if we're seeing it. I'm going to come right here. I'm going to do another big one.
All right. I like the big ones.
All right. So we're going to come right here. This is a focal one. This one is like just, oh, it's just a showy one.
Focal tulip. I like it.
So see how I'm curving my brush stroke? And then I curve to the outer shape of the tulip. But I'm making sure that each stroke is like its own sort of defined, thought out petal. So that when we look at these, so these are big and up close, right? We have another big up close friend right here, and then I can put this back down. Try not to be in the way of John's camera.
Oh, you're doing great.
So this one will be up a little bit from its friend. There we go, that tulip. That's the tulips.
Those are the big focal tulips.
Those are the big focal tulips. Now they have little friends that are here and there, and what I like to do is create similar shapes, but of different sizes. Because these are far away. So if we're a far away tulip, we might be like that. And then I'm doing the corner of my brush. All right. And where I have white is where I'm going to be putting a plop of color. This tulip's going to come right off the screen. I'm going to have a little tulip there. Isn't that fun?
Mm-hmm.
That's all we had to do there. We need to let that dry now.
That's pretty awesome. Those are the effectively, that's like the underpainting for the tulips.
That's the underpainting for the tulips. And what's this? Oh my goodness, I spilled my sponges.
That's okay.
What that's going to do is that's going to let our paint remain bright.
Right.
So whatever pigment you have in your paint, you know, whether it's like on a student paint, you don't have a lot of pigment, or whether it's a really transparent pigment like quinacridone, can be even in golden, it's going to come across as very bright and luminous and saturated with high chromatic joy. Right. Automatic. It's like I'm talking about grease lightning over here. All right. I'm going to put in my little square bits. I'm just going to take my black, and I might add a little blue to it and a little white, so it's not so dark, like as pure, but it's still going to be like, it's going to read as black. And I'm just going to very carefully outline my sails and put in the little checking inside them.
Oh, yeah.
Right, because they need a little checking. And come between this and like divide that. And then I'm just going to make little segments that come down. My windmill. Segment, 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 segment. See? Just dividing it like a little ladder. And what's nice is we can paint this in this nice, loose, expressive way. Because the way we painted the whole painting. So, you know, we don't have to like incrementally measure. But listen, if you're that person, right, like some people are, own it, do it, don't worry about it.
Everyone was just like, oh my gosh, it's like we went from the painting was like, you know, not really at all done, and all of a sudden just like you going bang, 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 and like the undercoating of the underpainting of the flowers and the sails coming in, it's just, they're like, it's like magic Sherpa.
It comes together really quick. While I'm here, I can put this little highlight, you know, on some of my, it's sort of the blue-gray highlight that I have.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little touch you can do. You don't have to do it. You just can do it. And then again, outline. Just outline. You're just saying this has got some shape. I'm using my brush. And look, it's a dry brush. I'm not like painting really thick, buttery lines over here. Right? I'm just saying. There's a thing happening here, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit, but not so much that I have to measure these out. Because if you talk about something loosely and in a painterly way, then you're not obligated to then getting into, you know, highly rigid practices of art.
Yeah.
Which are not wrong, they're just a way. That may not be the way you feel like doing today. And it's coming here. Making little dividers. You know, you can highlight your black line. My brush is small, so I can do that. And that helps a little bit. Like, it gives it a little form and dimension. I have to make sure these are dry, dry, dry. Otherwise, they will totally, like, cream out my picture.
Right.
So I'm going to just tap dry them a little bit.
Yeah, so what she was saying is that she has to make sure that they're totally dry so that as she adds these next colors, the colors stay pure and don't pick up that white and start to turn creamier or more, like reds would turn pink, or yellows would become more muted. They wouldn't be as bright. So it's important that you get all those whites dry so that the colors stay bright, bright, bright on top of them.
Bright, bright, bright.
Bright, bright, bright.
Now, I may even weirdly go like this so that I have a nice access to those flowers. Are you guys okay with doing that? Does it mess anybody up?
Yes.
I would be okay if you turn the Sherpa upside down.
No. Let's see. I can even just turn that one channel upside down. I can control the horizontal and vertical. I think on individual.
That might work, and then that way I'm not fighting my lip, and they're getting a nice visual of it.
But I don't think that's any big deal.
Is it okay? If they're cool, I'm cool. I'm gonna pull out a little bit of white, and I'm gonna get a little quinacridone out right here, and I'm gonna loosely mix them, like you do. See, right there. And I might even grab a smidge on the corner of my brush if I can get away from my black with my yellow. There we go. See, this is all loosely mixed. And I'm going to come here, and I'm going to pull that down right over where I had a mark. And I'm going to get a little extra different level of quinacridone. See how I do?
Yeah.
And maybe, going to be like, where are you? Okay, I'm like, I don't know who's who. So I'm going to just make this mark here, right? Right there over the top.
See, if we're really, it's like.
Now, more white, but still with my pink. And let's make some of these also pink. And then over here, maybe this guy right here against this far wall can be pink. He's the one over here by the window.
And we can see. I've got you right. I've got it right side up on there. I'm hesitant to flip you upside down over there because I can rotate it.
Oh, that's cool.
If they really, really want.
Okay, there you go. And that way they're oriented great, and I'm oriented great, and that's all good. And only my hand is weird looking.
That would just be. It's just kind of.
Okay, so from the bottom, see, I had this bright quinacridone.
This is just now confusing everyone. I think.
Is it?
I'm
gonna pull just a couple brush strokes with the bright, right at the bottom.
I think that's just too confusing.
Okay.
I'm gonna reset everybody.
I think I'm okay now, mostly anyways. How's that looking for you guys?
That's looking pretty good.
All right. So a lot of these are yellow, so I'm going to rinse out my brush. And I may even, just because we're at the end of the painting and things be messy, get out some of my just pure yellow, because my yellow right now is surrounded by all these contrasting colors that would gray it out. It's captured. And it needs to be released. So I'm going to just take a little of my yellow and my white. And I'm going to come here. And I'm going to come to the top of these petals, like you do. I'm going to get a little of this, even brighter. And I might even get a smidge of my quinacridone here, just so that there's a hint of it. Do you see the hint there?
Yeah.
And a little more yellow and white. And we're just going to make sure that where we had these wonderful little colors expressed, we're also expressing them. And we have a nice amount. Oh, I think there needed to be pink there, but look at this. Like, what I can do right now is, like, if I feel like there should have been a pink right here,
you can just
I can just add it in. And I can even come here and mix a little of that on that. And then the last thing I want to do is take just my pure Papa Yellow.
Sarah said, "Oh no, you were in the upside down."
Sorry for laughing like that. I was. All right, I feel like I have tuliped.
You have?
And now I can sign.
You can.
I can sign, guys. And you can sign. And we tuliped. Isn't that just a trip?
It is.
I hope you had fun doing this.
I think that today was a very fun in-chat day.
Was it a good in-chat day?
We had a great time. I really enjoyed hanging out with everybody. Really enjoyed just everyone who's taken the time to hang out with us and do this. It's it's really special that we get to do this together. So, you're getting you're just
I put my
your
little
Sherpa
signature
right
in.
just put it right in there.
Mm-hmm. It's a little bit muted. It's a little bit, but you know, I don't like mine to be like crazy overdone.
Yeah.
That's my artistic preference. You know? But that's a lot about my temperament. And we're all different peoples. I love that. I hope the cloud lesson was super helpful.
Mm-hmm.
I hope all of this is super helpful. Actually, if you guys need, I'll have John go out on the main painting, zoom in on the main painting.
Okay.
So you guys have that as your end screen, because I know sometimes you like that. I want to say be good to yourselves, be good to each other.
Okay, hold on, wait. You're gonna have to like give me a second here if you're gonna like say crazy things like or you're gonna have me go out on
You're
that.
just
'Cause
so
I have to.
you're so talented.
Well, just give me 2 seconds and we'll get it so that maybe I can do that. I don't even know. I'm not sure that I'm that good. No, I'm not. I can't do it. Maybe I can't. Hold on. All right. I gotta.
I'm so
push.
sorry.
You caught me
I did
flat-footed.
not mean to catch you flat-footed like that, sweetheart. I really
No,
apologize.
I did it. I figured it out. Okay, so you can say goodbye now.
He's amazing. I just do this to him all the time. You can make things fly, right? Those should all fly. Let's go.
Maybe I just gotta know, and it's there. So you did it. It's happening. Okay.
Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. I want to see you at the easel really soon. Bye-bye.